Hey, it's Jared with State of Tech, and today is Friday, so we're going to talk about what happened this week in mobile tech. So this week and last night essentially was the launch of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. You can now pre-order them. Pre-ordering is opened, and I stayed up late to attempt to pre-order. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. I didn't want to start it off with a rant, but beware, I have a rant at the end of the video about the pre-order process. There's been a lot of talk this week, and I've even talked a lot this week in videos both on this channel and on our photography channel called Ditch Auto about the dual camera, the iPhone 7 Plus camera, and the whole concept of dual cameras. Now, we'll talk about that for a second here because I think that with there being several Android phones now with dual camera and the iPhone with a dual camera, we're looking at a shift in what camera technology is bringing here to mobile phones. And that also is increasingly changing the consumer camera market. It's really interesting because, you don't see so many people with little cameras anymore. You see people with phones. They're taking pictures with phones. They don't have point and shoot cameras, or at least not as many people have them. What you see is people either with a smartphone or even like an entry-level DSLR, like a Canon T6i, like a Canon Rebel or something like that. You don't see a whole lot of those small little compact cameras anymore because our phones are about doing just as good as those cameras are. Now, the iPhone 7 Plus is making a shift more in usability, and I think they're attacking that consumer camera market. The iPhone 7 Plus now has 1 to 2x zoom, which of course most cameras have better zoom than that, but 1 to 2x zoom is pretty good when the only other zoom that you had was optical. So now we have zoom in the iPhone 7 Plus. We have other Android cameras that are coming out with different features that are between the dual cameras. So as these companies figure it out and they put more camera technology into our phones, the market for point and shoot cameras is going to get smaller and smaller. I mean, you go and buy a point and shoot camera, it's not going to be waterproof, but your phone most likely is. And, of course you have to step up to a DSLR, even though I think Apple made a comment about how the iPhone 7 Plus is better than a DSLR, which is ridiculous. It will never be better than a DSLR, but that's the difference there, is that you have an iPhone 7 Plus or an Android phone with a really good camera in it, and you're going to be able to take great photos in most situations. And the only time that you would need a better camera is in low light situations like sports, high-speed photography, stuff like that, where you would use a DSLR and you need zoom, you need lenses and all that good stuff. The consumer market, I think, for cameras, the small point and shoots, are shrinking. I mean, we're going to see less and less of those. We're seeing camera companies right now struggle to come up with something that consumers will actually buy because it's not much better than what they have in their phones. So it's interesting to see what's happening right now. And, the mobile companies, the technology is getting better. Yes, it's still not as good as the technology in some of our point and shoot cameras, and definitely not as good as the technology in our bigger DSLR cameras, but we're getting there. We're not far from having the ability to take pretty much any type of photo that we want with a smartphone. So that's been an interesting shift. I think that's the biggest shift that we can take from this year, being that not much else exciting has happened with smartphones. Yes, Apple is once again kind of prodding the industry by getting rid of a headphone jack, and that's just what Apple does. Apple gets rid of something because they want to move on to something else, like when they took CD drives out of all of their computers, and now it's very hard to find a computer with a CD drive in it, especially a laptop. So things are just changing, and Apple tends to kind of push the envelope there and help things and prod along the process. So with that said, there wasn't any announcements made so far from Apple about upgrading or updating their MacBook Pro line, which I'm a MacBook Pro user, and I've been, kind of hobbling along on a MacBook Pro for a while here without there being any real decent updates to that computer. And now I'm running into problems. When we edit videos like this, and I edit, other videos that we shoot, we're running into performance issues. Like we're bottlenecked by the performance of our systems. And Apple isn't really that interested in giving performance anymore. I mean, the Mac Pro hasn't been updated in, 3.5, almost 4 years. And the MacBook Pro hasn't seen a solid update in 2.5 years or 2 years. So there's just a problem there for people who need the performance of their computer because the software keeps getting better. I mean, imagine this, it would be like Apple or any other software or any other hardware company coming out with new software every year, but giving you the same phones. And then the phones get, older and slower, but the software requires more and more performance. It can't be that way. And Apple just hasn't been keeping up with the performance. Sure, their laptops are great for average everyday use. If you browse the web, if you use, Microsoft Word or like any of that stuff, some light video editing in iMovie or Final Cut Pro X, you're going to be just fine on a Mac. But if you need heavier software like Premiere Pro or After Effects or any of that stuff, or if you really need to do some heavy lifting, the Mac just isn't hanging anymore. And it's really kind of a bummer that they're taking such a long time to keep these things updated when you can get this stuff right now. You can get this stuff last year with a PC. And Windows 10 actually is getting pretty good. I don't know, how many of you out there are Mac versus PC. I'd really love for you to chime in the comment section below so that we can, I can kind of get a pulse of, who out there is Mac versus PC. But I'm ready to build a PC. I'm ready to build a PC, and by that I mean I'm ready to build a PC. I only have a couple more parts that I need, and we'll be building a PC here. That's gonna happen. So in my studio here, I need performance. I need things to go fast. I need things to work well. And if they don't, I can't waste time on it. I wasted a lot of time last night sitting up for the pre-order of an iPhone 7. I was going to get the iPhone 7 Plus, as I mentioned in other videos this week. And AT&T just does not make it easy for businesses. It's been near impossible every year since they converted me to a business account to get an iPhone on pre-order. Now there's a special business store they call like the Premier something or other business store online, and I went into that, and of course iPhones aren't shipping until October for that. So to me it's like, I can get it on pre-order date if that's great, like September 16th, and if I can't, then there's just no hurry for me. If it comes a little bit later, it's fine. I would like to get it on September 16th, but now I have to actually go and wait in a line for that to happen. So I have to decide, is it worth it? I do really want to play with the new iPhone 7 Plus camera and kind of see how the dual camera works and see if it lives up to the hype or not. But I don't know if I necessarily care so much anymore. That is what some of these companies, Apple and AT&T, the way that they work together, that is what they've done to me. They kind of desensitized me. I loved my Note 7, and of course I sent it back like many people did. And I may be going back to something like that because, all of the phone manufacturers, you can buy the phone easily. Doesn't matter if you have a business account or a personal account, you could buy the phone easy. You could pre-order the phone easy. Now with Apple, it's always been a hassle. It's always been a problem. If you have a business account, you go to put in your information to pre-order a phone, and they say, oh, we're sorry, we don't support your account type. You're gonna have to speak with an AT&T representative. Of course, if you call AT&T, they're closed. And so there's no way to pre-order an iPhone as a business. It's even if you were gonna buy the phone outright at full price, there's still no way to pre-order an iPhone and get it here on launch day. I've had this problem for, I think, 4 or 5 years now, but that's just is what it is. So I'm increasingly getting, kind of frustrated with companies that do this. They put everything into what they think is going to work best, but they end up kind of pushing out people who want their products. Now, if I had a consumer account, I probably would have been just fine. And to be honest, I don't even really understand what the difference between my business account and a consumer account is. All I know is that AT&T, and I know this happens with Verizon, Sprint, and I'm not sure about T-Mobile, but at least those other two, I know it happens with them as well. You end up getting features on new features on a normal consumer account before you actually get them as a business customer, which is really kind of a bummer. I want the leading edge features and technology and whatnot as a business and as a consumer, and I never end up able to get those things just because of the way that these carriers handle themselves. So I'm ready for this whole system to be democratized, or whatever, for it all just to be kind of opened up. I like what Google is doing with Google Fi or whatever it's called, and I hope that things continue to change to where the platform becomes more open. There also has been talk about the new Nexus phones that will be called the Pixel or Pixel XL, or both. I'm pretty excited to see what those are going to be. I'm hoping that the technology is going to be top-notch and leading edge, because maybe that's the direction I'm going to go. I have been on this iPhone SE for a while. I know if you've been watching these videos, you've seen me talk about the iPhone SE, but maybe it's time that I just say goodbye to Apple for a while. This has been a teetering year for me with Apple, where I've played with being all PC, all Windows earlier this year, and also off of the iPhone. And so maybe it's time that I just kind of shift a little bit and see what life is like on the other side. So let me know what you think. This video today has been slightly news, slightly frustration, but that if you're into technology like I am, that is the life that you lead. You end up being frustrated half the time because the companies that you care about, that you love, that you enjoy seeing their products, don't end up doing things the way that you would like them to. They don't put the new features in that you'd hope for. They don't, make something available that you hoped would be available. And that just happens, and it becomes frustrating as a consumer who wants to be able to take part in these technologies, and to be able to have them instead of wait year after year. Like I said in an earlier video as well, the iPhone 7 isn't really too exciting, but the dual camera, I kind of want to be able to play with that a little bit as a photographer and see what that's all about, and kind of be able to form my own opinion and see whether it's worth all the hype that's being talked about. So hopefully I will get my hands on an iPhone next Friday when they start to ship and they become available, but if not, that's all right. I'm fine with that. And we'll just get our hands on one when we have a chance so that we can talk about that camera. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you get an iPhone or an iPhone 7 Plus pre-ordered? If so, let me know what size, what color, and all that good stuff. I'd love to kind of see what you guys decided to choose. And if you have any thoughts about any of this, please, let's talk about it in the comment section below. Love conversing with you guys. Thanks so much for checking out our video today. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you get notified when we put out new videos each day. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time on State of Tech.